Hey everyone, this is Matt, just showcasing how you can use Claude to up-level a lot of your tasks. If you want to get started, just go to Claude AI. Just note that if you just Google Claude, you'll often get these first few links that are actually just kind of spam here that aren't actually Claude, or they're wrappers around Claude. So you actually want this website that is Claude.ai. That's the key one that you want to get. And so once you're here, Claude AI, so what we're going to showcase to you today is how to use the actual application, because that is quite powerful here. So if you're just going to, once you get to the website here, just click this download button here. And so you can install into a few things. You can install it into Excel and PowerPoint. And so you'll have it right inside Claude here in PowerPoint. So you can utilize this right inside your PowerPoint application. You can also use this kind of in Excel as well. So I suggest installing those. But the main one here is this Cowork here. So once you've downloaded that, the Claude app, it kind of looks like this. The first thing I suggest doing is just going to settings here and making sure that I'm going to the privacy tab here and make sure that the help improve Claude is off here. So just that means that they won't save your data to use it for training and things like that. So just make sure that's the case. And so then once you get back to the tab here, you'll see that there's these three tabs here: Chat, Cowork, and Code. Okay, so we're first going to start off with Chat. So this chat interface is kind of for things that you would use for, you would use a normal chat interface for. So you can things like here to write a reference letter. One of the advantages here that is it's a little bit easier to make documents. And so I've asked it not just to put in the chat, but actually make a Word document for this. And so what it will do is it has these things called skills. So it's reading around how to best make a document skill to utilize that. And then once it's done that, it will actually write this letter here. So the way it's doing it here is it's actually writing code in order to create this Word document here. So it's writing this script here that will actually create a nicely formatted document. So we'll just skip ahead to the completion. So it's completed now here. And the nice thing here is it gives you this panel here where you can actually see it present. And the draft of it. You can then click here to open in Microsoft Word, or you can open it in your Drive. You can then suggest other changes that you kind of want, but this is an actual Word document here that we can kind of open up on our computer right here and that you can see. And so that is a quite useful thing. So I'm just going to save this here, and I'll show you the next step here of what we can do with this. And so now if we shift over to this Cowork tab, what I want to show you here is that now it'll actually work on a folder within your computer, and this can be incredibly useful here. So I've already given it this folder here for Claude, and then I can tell it of things to do directly, and it'll work on that folder. And so I just saved that reference that I made in there. And so what we're going to do is say, there's a draft of a reference letter for John Doe. Can you review and make comments inline for this letter in the Word document? And so what it will do now is it's actually going to interact with this file that's on my computer. This can be incredibly useful for numerous tasks. And so what it can do here is it's going to find the document once it kind of starts up here. And then it's going to review that, and then it's going to make inline kind of comments as kind of comments directly in the file here. So this is now completed. It normally takes a few minutes to complete these kind of longer tasks like document editing. So this is usually something I start up and kind of work on something else. But you can see here it's now created this new Word document that we can kind of open up directly into Word. And you can see here that it's actually created inline comments for a number of things here. It'll also do track changes and things like this. So this can be incredibly useful when you're trying to edit a document and you kind of want some feedback on it. So yeah, it can also do more advanced things as well. So for example, I was working on the Journal Club recently, and there's these skills that you can get here. And so I've generated a skills list here, which I'd be happy to share. So we're going to say run this on the folder with PDFs for the most recent Journal Club. And so this has instructions here. So these skills I trained it basically on multiple previous journal clubs, which I did by just giving it a bunch of the previous PDFs and asked it to make a skills document. So it's kind of learned the format and things like that. So the same thing here is it's going to start this up. It's going to find these PDFs. It's going to run this through. So we can just check in here. So it's progressing. It's found the 35 PDFs here, and it actually creates these to-do lists of how it's actually going to classify this. So the first thing it's going to do is it's going to pull the text from these PDFs. It's then going to figure out which one should be for discussion versus notation. It's then going to confirm how it should classify them with us, and it's going to then make sure all the citations are correct. It's going to use this connector called PubMed, which you can add just by clicking this plus button here, and then you can have connectors, and then you can add PubMed in here. And then it will write the discussion article summaries with the critical appraisal, and then these notation summaries as well. And so I've run this previously here, and so then this is kind of the end result that you get from this. And so I was able to kind of take those PDFs and come up with a draft of the articles for discussion here, and it has this draft here as well, and use comments here to flag some interesting things that may be of interest to the group. So yeah, that's kind of how you can use the Cowork feature here. So the last one here is Claude Code here, this last tab. So this is for if you want to make small little applications, things like this. And so let's just have it make a small little application here to help us keep track of mitotic figures here in this kind of field of view. And we want it to kind of, we'll give it the diameter, and then it's going to basically calculate it by getting this little way to kind of click through it. So we'll let that work away, and I'll come back once it's done and show you what it made. So our application has been completed here, so I'm just going to put in a field of view here, and so now what I can do is I can just count here. So say this one has 2, next field this one's going to have 1, say this one has 3, and this one has 1, this one has 0, 0, so I have 1, and I've calculated how many fields? 8. That's okay, one more here, and then so now I've all done 10. I'm going to say calculate results, and so now that gives me, the per 2 millimeters squared, per 1 millimeter squared, per 5 millimeters squared, and 10 millimeters squared for that. So yeah, so that's kind of how you use the different tabs, chat, cowork, and code for different kind of things. Then there's more advanced ways that you can then deploy this application if you wanted to, or you can actually just kind of run it within Claude here as well. So hopefully that was useful, and thanks so much.